All right, this is the Big Douglas Show. It is an Opposition Wednesday. It is the very first time that all the way from England, my good buddy Andy Burrows is the
All right, this
co-host.
is the Big
Andy, how are you?
Opposition Wednesday. It
I
is the very
I
first
am good,
time
my man.
all the
You
way
were on
from
a bit of
England.
delay, but how are you, man?
Very good. Zeke is here. How are you, Zeke?
Doing good. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. I'm excited, Zeke. This is your follow trains are things of legends. I'd love to know how they got started and what kind of prompted that thing. You may not have been the first, but you certainly have one of the more recognizable ones.
I from my perspective, I'm kind of the first NFL follow train because when I first started, it was just Air Levine's season, Air Camperville. He had an NBA training, and I was like, well, I would kind of like NFL a little bit more, but I kind of started doing that through the NBA, like seeing how it worked, and then just doing it every single day. I just started cultivating a little community of NFL fans. So it's just all about connecting everybody, and everybody comes on the Twitter for engagement. So why not having some engagement?
And you got the YouTube channel set up now, is that right?
Yes, it's Spoon of Zeke. Very easy. It's got like a Twitter bird on it, and I just kind of explain to people how to do Twitter better and how to, really, you don't have to change your content. You just got to put it in front of more people, and that's kind of been my goal for helping everybody.
And you're down in the Dallas area, so I know you're a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. That's what we're here to talk about today. I'm curious, Washington, Dallas, both switch coaches at the same time. How were you a fan of McCarthy? Did you like that move?
I wasn't exactly a fan, but he's kind of like the Alex Smith of coaches. He just makes not enough mistakes to actually like lose the game. And I think that we just needed someone to like drive the bus. That's really what we needed. And right now, he's kind of letting the team evolve as it is. Like I see Kellen more as the person who's calling the offense and actually making everything happen and having the 4 wide receivers and, Dak throwing and, not as much focus on the running game. But, I'm okay with McCarthy right now.
Andy, you watched that game the other night. Did it leave you more impressed, less impressed? What were your thoughts coming out of the primetime game?
The Washington game?
No, that Dallas game.
It's always Dallas, so I'm not as worried as I would have been in seasons gone past, but you just never know with these divisional games. Zeke can testify to this. You never know what you can go on a 4-game losing streak like Washington did, and then you can go and peel off 4 games in a row. So, divisional games are divisional games, but it's a bit different for us this season because we have so many back to back. So am I worried as I would have been in the past about Dallas? Probably not, but this is a divisional game and anything can happen. This can go one way. Look at last season. I know Dallas had a few injuries, but we blew them out last season. So I'm expecting a tougher game, but the timing now works for Washington. At last, we're on a good run. We're going into this on good form. So there's no reason why we couldn't pick up that W.
Zeke, is Zeke himself healthy?
I think he's kind of worn down. I heard early in the season that McCarthy was actually trying to, because it's 17 games now. So there's an extra game, and running backs take the most damage out of like anybody in the skill positions. So he's really been using Tony Pollard, who I picked up in my fantasy, who's been keeping me afloat with some of his good games. I've actually been really impressed with Tony Pollard, and I knew that with Kellen Mond having like a passing attack, Tony Pollard is going to be a big factor in how this offense runs on like 3rd down. And I'm okay with extending Zeke by using him only on 1st and 2nd downs. He's a very good running back and he can be used in a lot of situations, but using Tony Pollard it's a cheaper, but he's going to give the scat back look every time.
It's interesting with Pollard because he's a Memphis guy, right? So he's a lot like our own Memphis running back, that he's getting a lot more playtime and a lot more exciting. It's also interesting. So many parallels I find interesting. Amari Cooper did not get vaccinated, missed time. Our Montez Sweat is that way now. How did it feel like the team was disappointed in Amari Cooper?
Yeah, a little bit, just because he's such a big factor on the team, and it always stinks to have basically your 1A, 1B wide receiver with CeeDee Lamb to be out. But Michael Gallup showed some great plays. He's still a factor even when he's coming back from the slow start of the season. But yeah, it did seem like the team was a little disappointed.
Zeke, we all know what this rivalry means to Washington fans, and it's widely documented how much this hatred is. From a Dallas point of view, I know a few Dallas Cowboys fans, but what does the rivalry mean to you guys as fans going into this game on Sunday?
It's just a lot of tradition. Like, honestly, for me, the true hate lies with Philly. I really just don't like Philly. I hope they always are last in the division. But with Washington, it's a lot of tradition. It's no longer the name, it's the Washington football team. So it's a little bit new of a new era. But the division rivalry is still there. Like, I still expect to beat y'all. So
I'm with you on the Philly thing now. I hate them as well.
You guys are starting to get healthy at the right time too, Zeke. I saw both pass rushers will be back. That's huge. It seems like it's been a bit of a mash unit for the offensive line. Am I wrong there? What is that offensive line looking like for you guys these days?
The big piece that we really need to stay healthy is Tyron Smith. If he can give me a full game every game, I'm happy, and he stays healthy. But he's been in and out of the lineup, and you can definitely tell that there's a huge difference between when he's in and when he's out. Because usually that's the blind side, and it's usually the top pass rusher on the team. But isn't Chase Young out for you guys? So it's not like we need Tyron Smith as much, but Tyron Smith just gives us that backbone of the team that gives us the ability to have 4 seconds to look down the field.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we're relying mostly on inner pass rushing now with Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne. It's been incredible. The Jamin Davis, who the Washington team took in the first round as a linebacker, has played okay. Certainly not to the level that the Michael Parsons has. I think Washington fans are always upset they didn't get Michael Parsons. I have to remind them, well, the Cowboys picked him up first, so he wasn't there. He's been incredible.
Absolutely, man. When he was put down, like where he has his hand in the dirt and was rushing the quarterback, I was like, man, like, why do we got to do this to a rookie? Like, I really want him to come in and play the position that he was drafted to play. But man, he is just like an athlete on the defense. He can do whatever. Like, he's basically good for a sack a game. And for a lot of those games, the top pass rushers weren't out there. So it's just going to be more havoc. It's just going to be more balls that are rushed to the downfield where Trevon Diggs is going to be open to catch the ball. So it's going to be very interesting to see when everything starts coming together and the pieces that are there are healthy and we're able to play them.
Yeah, you're a lot healthier than this time last season, Zeke. Zeke, I'm interested to know if you had gone back 4 weeks ago before Washington went on this run, has your opinion changed now of the Washington football team? Like you say, if we'd gone back a month, it looked like you were going to walk away with the division. It was like, wow, this is Dallas's to lose. We now fast forward 4 weeks. We've gone on this really impressive run, 4 games, winning streak. Have your views slightly changed coming into Sunday's game, or are you still expecting to win the division and carry on into the postseason?
I knew Washington was going to be a problem coming into the season just because they have Ron Rivera. Fitzpatrick was the quarterback at the time at the beginning of the season, but then there was the hip issue. Then you got Taylor Heineke, who's, basically like a late round guy, undrafted, something like that. There's guys with chips on the shoulder, and, you can't really discount that in a game. But my opinion of Washington has not changed at all. They can fall apart at any time, it seems like. And there's people on their team that are dropping like flies. For me, the only guy that I got to really worry about is Terry McLaurin. And if Trevon Diggs shuts him down, then your passing attack is gone and you're just going to be rushing the ball to Micah Parsons. So good luck on that. And honestly, the offense, you guys just got to catch up. It's going to be a race to 35. That's how the offense is built. It's just going to be high flying. So if you guys can't stop the pass, then it's going to be a long day for y'all.
Yeah. No, I totally agree there. That matchup, that Terry Diggs matchup is pay-per-view, all the way. I can't wait to see it because I believe in that defense. He'll follow him, right? Is that what is he the star corner, as they say, or does he stay on one side?
From what I've seen, he stays on the star, but you never know what the defensive coordinator Quinn is going to do. But for me, if I was Quinn, I would be like, "You got him all game. Have fun, man." Like I would love just a shot of just that matchup the entire game, because that's going to be a big matchup. And Terry, there's been a lot of times like I've really discounted Terry because Washington has not had really good success with wide receivers. But he has really shown up, and there's been a lot of quarterbacks, bad stuff happening in the quarterback position where it just makes it hard for success at that position, and he still gets it done. So I have a lot of respect for Terry, and I can't wait to see the matchup.
Zeke, what's a healthy Dak Prescott brought for you guys this season? Obviously, I mentioned last season he was out for such a long time. It's such a big player to have back for you. I mean, you're quoted as America's team. With him back under center, does this push you to that next level? Or, a lot of people have said, "Hey, he runs this team. Without him, you're nothing." I mean, he missed one game this season. How important is that man to this franchise now?
He's uber important to the team because just the way the offense is built, like it's not built on the run, it's built on the pass. And the run is just kind of used as like a change of pace kind of thing, which is absolutely fine. Like I think our offense is built like that. Like we have weapons everywhere. Like even at the tight end position, it's kind of impressive. Like you guys just lost Logan Thomas, right?
For the season. Yeah, he's out for the season now.
That's terrible. Like it's just like Jordan Reed all over again. Like, you got that skill position player that you're like, man, if he gets the ball, he'll dominate, but sometimes he just can't stay healthy. So for us, our wide receivers are very strong. Even Cedric Wilson, who's the fourth guy, he's still a weapon. So Dak is very important because that's how the offense is built, and that's how Kellen Moore runs the offense. And if he goes down, then basically everything they've been practicing all year just goes out the window, and it's just dive, off tackle, counters, that kind of stuff. And they really have to dumb down the offense. But with Dak, it just allows them to free fly.
Yeah, it's interesting because the two teams are trying to play two completely different styles of ball. To your point, Zeke, absolutely, Dallas is trying to put up 35 every time. And Dallas and Washington, since the bye, has done the exact opposite. They've got, they're putting together 8, 9, 10-minute drives, trying to make this thing a don't score 17, which is what they've held the last two opponents to. So it'll be interesting to see the two battles that they have there. I'm curious, Zeke, in Washington, there are always like some Dallas fans that infiltrate a Washington family. Is that how you are? Do you see a lot of that down there in Dallas?
No, not really. It's just a lot of Dallas fans that I see. And, really, if anything, I've seen in like DC, like there's teams everywhere. Like Washington doesn't have the standing that Dallas does down here. So, no, I don't see that at all.
That's interesting.
Zeke, what do you think the atmosphere will be like this weekend? I know Washington are trying to pack that stadium full of Washington fans for once. I mean, we've seen the Cowboys are very well represented, even over here. When I go to the games in the UK, they're represented. What are you expecting come Sunday?
I expect the Cowboys fans to fill it up, to be honest. A lot of times I see during the games that it's more the away team than Washington. And it might just be because it's a transient city, but Washington has a lot of work to do with the home crowd for people to actually show up in the stadium.
What's been your opinion of the whole? It's interesting because obviously we only speak on the Washington side. What's been your opinion since name change and coaching change? And this time last season, I think Taylor Heinicke had just been signed to the practice squad. From an outsider kind of looking in at the division, what have you made of everything that's gone on in Washington, let's say for the last 18, 19 months?
It's horrible. There's no way to be able to focus on football. And if you guys make the playoffs, it's just considered a very successful season, but it distracts from a lot of the issues. Like, why is it taking almost 2 years to come up with the team name when Cleveland became the Guardians like almost overnight? And that's kind of, I think there's just been a lot of fluff and trying to distract, like, they're trying to focus so much on the football team, but there's so much on the outside that really distracts everybody from actually being able to play football. I've heard that like Chase Young hasn't been the best type of player this year, with like rankings, PFF. It's just it's very hard for a team to have sustained success with that kind of atmosphere and news and all that kind of stuff. So I wish y'all the best of luck, but man, you got to get a lot of stuff changed.
You don't mean that, Zeke.
Okay.
But thanks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now it should be an interesting game. I think if we can run the ball and keep it low scoring, and be down to a who's got the ball last type situation, certainly that probably is the only way we can get it done. I keep thinking that we're going to be in one of these 35-35 shootouts, and Andy, they just never go that way.
Oh no, not with Washington. I think it's what's our highest points we've scored this season. I mean, we're getting. We've got injuries again now coming into this weekend. Our linebacker's just gone down. Obviously, Montez Sweat isn't going to be back. We're going to have to put up some points. But like Zeke said earlier, we rely a lot on Terry McLaurin. I think we're going to rely very heavily on him this week. So, they're going to game plan for the run. We know how well Antonio Gibson played last week, but Dallas defensively, this is going to be a test for Washington. I'm not going to hide the fact that I think defensively they're going to be one of the hardest tests we've had on this 4-game winning streak. This game this Sunday will really test us. And if somehow we can come through this, and I believe we can, so I think we're good enough, then that says a lot for Washington. But this is going to be such a tough game. We can hype it all we want. And yeah, we want Dallas and we want to beat Dallas. But when we cut it back, there's a game of football to be played. And when them guys get on that field, it's going to be a very, very hard game.
Zeke, you think the fan base was getting frustrated during the middle part of the season for you guys? And do you think that's just because Zeke wasn't right?
I think the blowout that we suffered, I forgot who I want to say Atlanta, that we had the blowout, that we got blown out by, but that was extremely disappointing to me. And it seemed like we were kind of like sputtering. The thing is, if we get the wide receivers the ball, they can make big plays. Like CD has been making some big plays. Gallup has been making some big plays. Amari Cooper has been making some good plays. It's just, honestly, I think our offensive line has made it extremely hard that Dak will have enough time, because he was kind of like scrambling for his life sometimes. But they're trying to get the ball downfield. I don't think that Zeke actually has like an extreme factor of like Dak in the offense anymore. It's more like the offensive line either needs to be strong and be healthy, or we're not going to have the time to do what we need.
It really is one of the best receiver trios in the league. Now, the Washington secondary has been playing a whole lot better since the bye. So I think, William Jackson had been disappointing. I see Zeke shaking his head now.
All right, Zeke.
He thinks they get ready to feast on him. But I'm telling you, they kick Kendall Fuller outside, and William Jackson's been playing better. I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup with the receivers. And I think the Washington front four has been stopping the run. So I think they got a chance at home. Zeke, what is your prediction for Sunday?
I'm going to say 28-17. I think that you guys are going to score some points. I mean, it's not like our defense, like we are getting our pass rushers back, but we don't have like an interior guy that we're like, oh yeah, besides Micah, he's a linebacker though. But like I'm talking like front four, there isn't a guy on the inside that I'm like, oh man, like go ahead, have fun with the run. I'm like, oh, you guys can probably get, maybe 100 yards rushing on us. I'm going to need Trevon Diggs to get an interception or two on Heineke, because that I think that's where the difference is going to be made, is the defense. I think our offense is still going to score some points, but they do make mistakes. So we'll see what happens, but I think we're still going to win this pretty handedly.
It's been a while since you could hang your hat on defense in Dallas. Has the defensive coordinator really made that? Because they haven't really added much other than Micah Parsons, right?
Trevon Diggs has really come up. He has like almost, I think it's 9 or 10 interceptions on the season, which is incredible. And that's been a real treat to watch. Like, he does get burned on plays, but like, man, he's been like getting touchdowns. Like, it don't matter to me. Like that's how I see it. And Micah Parsons has been great. Now we just need to get like an interior defensive lineman to really make that defense something special, because there are some pieces on there. I don't think that Dan Quinn has made a difference in terms of like play calling. I think he's made a difference in terms of like culture. And I think that Micah Parsons and Trevon Diggs has made that transition a lot easier. Even Randy Gregory with his comeuppance with sacks, that has made it a lot easier. So these guys are buying into the system, and now the defense isn't something to like be like, oh man, like please just get the ball back. Like now we're forcing turnovers and having those extra possessions, which are really helping our win-loss record.
Zeke, what's the end game for the Cowboys? We mentioned earlier, if Washington can get into the playoffs again, it would be good. With your roster and that you've got this season, is it playoffs? Is it beyond? Is it Super Bowl? You're not going to do that, but is it? All joking aside, what is a successful season in your eyes?
If we get to the NFC Championship game, that would be considered like a huge success. If we don't make it to the Super Bowl, I'm not like expecting, because I think that there are way better teams in the NFL. Like, even though the Chiefs have been kind of like off and on, I think that they can turn it on. Tampa Bay, they have Tom Brady. He turns it on. Like for us, it's kind of like either we're on or we're off. Like, it's not like we can turn it on. So that's kind of how I feel. But if we make it to the NFC Championship game or win one game in the playoffs, I'd be pretty excited with that. But a conference championship appearance would be great for me.
And Andy, we'll save our picks for Friday. Zeke, thank you so much for doing this with us today. Tell the folks where they can find you and all the cool stuff you got going on.
You can always find me at Spoon of Zeke on Twitter. I'm there every single day. I have a follow train at 12 o'clock. It's just to help connect NFL fans and, have the great discussion of sports that can happen. We're on opposite sides of the division rivalry, and I've met a lot of Philly fans, but just because we don't like each other's teams, we can still like each other. So that's kind of how I see everything, and I'm just trying to help connect everybody on Twitter. You can also find some information about how to Twitter better on Spoon of Zeke on YouTube.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. And fellas, enjoy the game on Sunday.
Thanks, Zeke. Appreciate you, brother.
Yep. Thank you for having me on.
All right, Andy. Very good. Appreciate you, my friend.
You're more than welcome, my friend. Pleasure to be with you, man.